Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is your podcast, Miles&Stories, and I'm your host, Johnny Reese. And today we have a special guest from Jacksonville, Florida. He's a local runner, and he's gonna share a little bit about his running story and his training plan structure. So let's welcome Bjorn Anderson. Did I say it right? Did
Bjorn.
I get your name
No,
right?
thanks, Yanni. Yes, it's Bjorn.
Bjorn. Got it. Bjorn. Now
That's
I
right.
should be good. So Bjorn, you're from Jacksonville, right?
Yes, I've been in Jacksonville for most of my adult life. I grew up in northern New Jersey, was ended up down here in the Navy in the early 2000s, and spent a brief period away. But we've been back in Jacksonville since 2014, so over 10 years now.
Wow. I was in Jacksonville for over like 20 years. Now I moved to Orlando, so I feel Jacksonville is kind of home. I've been going away. I've been in Daytona and all that, but I still want to go back. So I don't know if you feel that way whenever you travel. Or I feel Jacksonville is home for me.
Yeah, it is. It's very much home. Like I said, grew up in northern New Jersey, went to the Naval Academy, so spent some time in Maryland. But after graduating, pretty much got sent down to the Jacksonville area. We lived in Fernandina Beach from 2004 to 2010, and then Jacksonville. So this is the place I've been by far the longest. So it feels like home.
Nice. Can you tell us a little bit about before we start into running, can you tell us a little bit about your background? What do you do for a living?
Sure. So I went to the Naval Academy, and then I was stationed on a submarine and served a tour on the submarine. When I got out of the Navy, I went to law school, and upon graduating from law school, I started practicing patent law, so helping inventors protect their intellectual property. And I
Okay.
practiced most for more than 15 years, and most of that time was with a law firm called Munier, Carlin and Kerfman. It's an intellectual property firm in Atlanta, Georgia, and I did that until last year. Last year, I launched a startup company called RunWise AI, and we do injury risk predictions for marathoners. So that's what I'm doing full time for the last year is working on this startup company, and it's a Strava integration, so it's a software solution for runners.
All right. And if you don't mind, can you give us a little bit of insight of what your company does, or how did it started?
Sure. So I uh, this company started as a passion project um, 4 or 5 years ago. So I'm a lifelong runner, and I ran competitively in high school and college. When I graduated from the Naval Academy, I pretty much stopped running. I was on a submarine, and it's an enclosed space with not a lot of opportunity to run. There's a couple treadmills, but I sort of just kind of set it aside, and that sort of break from running lasted more than 10 years. Uh,
Mm.
you just stop doing it. Life moves on. Ended up in law school, starting a family, etc. And then in my mid 30s, I came back to running and started to struggle with injuries. So this is in my mid 30s, getting injured, and it was harder. I appreciated how difficult running was a lot more than I did when I was very young, and so it was a struggle. And you get injured, and it's hard to come back. And that's when I started to think about the running injury problem, and I started to kind of just look around for solutions. And I'm an electrical engineer, practicing patent law, so I'm working with a lot of sort of innovators that are using software and then machine learning to solve all sorts of problems from from drug discovery to medical image analysis to controlling complex machinery. And I just thought, why, is anybody using machine learning to help runners avoid injury? And I just thought machine learning, with all the data that we collect with our Garmin's or Apple Watches, Coros, whatever you might have, um, machine learning seems to be well suited to solving the running injury problem. There was nothing around, so I kind of sat down and I didn't find anything, so I just started to do it myself. I learned, had some background with coding, but I kind of brushed up on Python and learned to train machine learning models. Sat down with running data and tried to see if I could train a model on what we're looking at is reliable biomechanical load data. So like how far, how fast, and how often people run. I
Mm.
won't go into the technical details. It's a lot of but it was a lot of trial and error. So you kind of look for features, and you look at different types of models and different ways of training. But and you just do it, trial and error, until you get a model to work. By 2022, I had a model that I thought was performing fairly well, and I just put it to work for myself. And I've been using it ever since, to stay injury free the last 4 years, including four, trained for a marathon a year, so 4 marathons. But so I was doing that for myself and um, learning a lot. And at some point along the way, a friend and I, my co-founder, we connected it to Strava so we could share it with people. This is all before it was a business, and we had no idea what would happen, but we were able to do that using Strava's API, and we got some people in there. Some people seemed to like it, and I'm working full time as an attorney at the time, and all of a sudden the list of things that we might do and improve starts to get quite lengthy, and there's just not enough time at night and on the weekends to do those things. And so in 2024, I decided, my wife and I sat down and I was kind of itching to do something different, and decided to launch the company and just see if I could get it going. And it was really one of those things. I didn't want to look back 10 years from now and say I could have or I should have, um, you know, pursued this sort of passion of mine. And
Yeah.
so here I am, a year later, giving it a real go. It's tough, but that's where it came from. That's in in a long sort of version of it. That's how RunWise came to life.
Wow. That's crazy. I seen it on Strava. I didn't know you were one of the founders or you were the
Yep.
founder. That's wild. That's what I'm saying. We see people on Strava and then we finally meet them, and man, life is crazy. But yeah, I seen it on Strava. I always wondered what it was. I think I never click on it or never inquire. But
Mhm.
now that you give me an insight, I probably will because
Yeah, no,
it might help me.
you have to check it out. I'll send you some information and follow up. But that's exactly it, right? The original version of it was pretty rough. It was that I was doing for at least 2 years, probably more. It was very manual. So I would download data from Garmin in a spreadsheet, and I would kind of clean up the clean up the spreadsheet, and then I would upload it to something called Google Colab, where I had my Python code with all the machine learning models and run it through. So it wasn't user friendly, um,
Mm.
until we decided to. My co-founder had always said, "Hey, we can connect this." Strava has something called an API, it stands for Application Programming Interface, but that's how you exchange data with another company's computer software app, and Strava has one. They have a developer program, so we figured out how to leverage it so that we could make it um, more user friendly. And right, we started with Strava because of the the 180 million user
Everybody loves
we have
Strava.
today. Everybody's there. It's a big hub for running data. So we started there, but we can through that we can um, automatically grab a runner's historical data so that we can compute the features and run it through the machine learning algorithm and push the risk score out to their Strava.
Wow, that is really really cool. I'm gonna check it out because I've seen it before and I think it might be helpful. So I'll definitely will check it out. And thank you for sharing that with us. How RunWise started, and like I said, I didn't know you were a co-founder or founder,
Mhm.
but that's really cool.
Thanks.
And I know you mentioned you've been running your whole life. Is that what you're? Can you share how you started running? Like you started running school, middle school, or
Hmm.
how did that happen?
Sure. So my dad was a runner and his siblings. So I come from a running family, and so some of my earliest memories were just running. But it wasn't until um, middle school some, and then really high school that I
Mm.
really took it on. It started to run on the cross country and track and field teams, and I loved it. My dad just instilled a sort of love of running. We did that together when I was younger, and I continued to pursue it when I went to college. I went to the Naval Academy and ran on their track and cross country teams, and then, like I said, that when I by the time I graduated, I had just stopped, and then took 10 years off, and then I became, I guess, like a new runner, right? I was in my mid 30s, so a little bit older, and started from scratch again. And that's when I appreciate, like I said, I appreciated it a little more and how difficult it is.
Yes. Do you mainly did track or you did like cross country or mix of both or
So I really loved cross country. I'm a long distance runner, so I did when I was in high school we had cross country, we had outdoor track. We didn't have indoor
okay.
track. In I wrestled in the winter, and so I did some other things. And then when I got to the Naval Academy, it's I ran cross country primarily, but we there was indoor and outdoor track, and you ran year round.
Nice.
But all the long distance events.
Okay. Yeah, I was telling Paul that when I first came here and I started high school, I didn't even know that running was a sport.
Uh,
My coach, my soccer coach, was like, if you get into the cross country team, and then I'll make you a captain. I was like, what's cross country? He was like, yeah, it's a team that they run. They do a distance, so you can get some endurance, and you can be better
uh,
at soccer. I was like,
that's
all
right.
right, let me try it. And I did it for 2 years, and then like you, I stopped after high school. And then I came
Okay.
back like 2 years ago, but I've been enjoying it. But I really learned a lot. In high school, it was like more of for fun. I didn't really pay attention of the training we did. I didn't really care much.
Mhm.
So when I came back, I was like, oh man, what do I do now? I didn't even know what to do. So, but it was fun. Do you remember what was your first running after you came back? It was like a 5K, 10K.
Yes. So my son was born in 2012, and I had probably put on 30 or 35 pounds, and I just thought, and I was beginning of just getting underway with my legal practice. So you're kind of working long hours and sitting at a desk all day. And I just realized, I've got to get out and do something. So I started to run 5Ks again, just to kind of
Okay.
motivate myself to get out. And then the first real thing I think I did was the next year in 2013. I had a good friend and colleague who ran cross country and track in college, and he and his wife both, and they had a team that. Are you familiar with Ragnar's or those? It's like a 200-mile it's about 200-mile relay race, and you get teams of 6 or 12 people to do them.
I am not, to be honest, I'm not familiar.
Okay, it's so again you get a team, and it's usually 6 or 12. We had 12, and you run essentially about 200 miles, and you just rotate. So everybody you run 3 legs each, and in a relay type fashion. So you run, you usually get 2 6-person vans, and your 6-person sort of team runs your 6 legs, and then you jump way ahead while the other van does theirs. But to do that, I had to do some training because it was going to be a total of about 20 or 25 miles over a 24-hour
Mhm.
period. We were living in Atlanta at the time. Atlanta's a lot more hilly than Jacksonville, and um, so I got out there and just started. I had to put in some miles in the summer, and it was tough. But that was the first thing that kind of that really motivated me to start training more regularly, and that was in 2013.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was telling Paul that Jacksonville has a lot of a big running community, and
Mhm.
I didn't know we had a big running community until I got out. Until I
Okay.
moved to Daytona, and there's not a lot. Now in Orlando, like it's not a lot. But
Hmm.
Jacksonville is like a running event every weekend, and there's some big run club. So
It's it's amazing. I didn't. So we moved back in 2014, and I kind of plodded along, doing the Gate River Run and the Donna half here and there, and some of all the 5Ks
yeah,
there. But it wasn't until 20, I think in the middle of 2017 or maybe 2018, when I really got connected to the larger running community, um, which is just amazing. Like you said, it's
yes,
between PRS and JTC and some of the other groups. There's people that meet, all sorts of people that meet in all sorts of places almost every day of the week. So it's a very strong community.
yeah, and you can see it like on every weekend. There's like hundred, even thousands of people on a race event.
That's
So
right.
you can see the magnitude of how
Hmm.
big we have it, and but you don't see it until you go out. 'Cause,
That's
like
right.
right now, I miss Jacksonville. I want to go back so bad.
Uh, no, it's incredible. My co-founder, we worked together at FIS, as patent attorneys, and he introduced me to PRS, and we were kind of training. All of a sudden, he started to get really fast, and he said, you should come out and run it. I was just like blown away, right? I mean, you go out on a Saturday morning, and there's like 50 or 100 people,
Yeah, it's
at
crazy.
5 in the morning, and I get that's when I really discovered the the actual running community here. My co-founder has since moved away to New Jersey, and he says the same, similar to what you're saying. He misses it a lot because he hasn't yet found that strong running community that he had here.
Yeah, and you can you notice when you check like the results. Like if I check the results down here in Orlando, like on a 5K, it's gonna be like 18 or 19, like the fastest. But if you check Jacksonville, like every weekend, people are running like 14, 15. So there, not only there's a big running community, but there's some fast people out there
Yes.
compared to where I'm at right now. So
Hmm.
you can see it's not just a big running community, but some people that are really competing.
Yeah, it's a really competitive place, and it's just been great. And over the last, I think, since the COVID pandemic, it's the demographics have even changed. I feel like it used when I first started, it was a lot of people in their 30s and 40s, and now you have a lot of younger people as well,
Yes.
like in their 20s, and all the way up. But it's just it's really shifted quite a bit. So it's great. I mean, there's people of all ages and all walks of life that are out there together, being connected by this sort of shared shared passion.
Yeah, when I really find out that we had a big community was when I did the river run. I was like, man,
Yep.
there's so many people here. I never seen so many people running. I was like,
Mhm.
that's crazy. I mean, I seen it like on majors, like on TV, but not actually been on one.
No, it's really that I mean the river run's just one of those incredible, amazing things, and to be to actually live here, I guess. Um,
Yes,
Growing up, I always heard about the Peachtree Road Race and tens of thousands of people, and I was in New Jersey, so somewhere about midway between Philadelphia and New York City. So there were a lot of bigger road races that I'd hear about, but being here right right where you live, when you have 15 or 20,000 people go out on a Saturday in March, it's pretty special. And all the
yes.
elite groups that come into town, it's it really motivates people to get in shape, stay in shape, and do the best they can.
Yeah, that's insane. Bjorn, can you share us a little bit about your training? How does your training structure, like throughout the week, looks like?
Sure.
I know some people do like easy runs, some people do speed workouts, long runs. Can you share how yours look like?
So my I train myself. Um, so I'm self-coached, and my uh, my primary objective is to run as long as I can, like into old age. So
Mhm.
I um, I like to be very consistent with what I do. I feel like that helps it helps avoid um, injuries and other problems. So and it helps just I think being disciplined. So I typically run 6 days a week. I try to take a day off. It's usually Monday or Friday. And again, I'm pretty consistent with it over long stretches of time. But my son and I try to have breakfast that morning, like make a nice breakfast and don't worry about running. And but on the other 6 days, I run uh, usually one or two workouts a week. So I try as much as I can to get out to the track one day, and then for the other workout, try to do more like a tempo, maybe in the portion of another run or some hill repeats. So 1 to 2 workouts a week, a longer run, usually on a Saturday or Sunday, and the other 4 days are what I consider just easier runs. So um, conversational pace, just how I feel, and those are usually 60 minutes, 70 minutes max. And that usually puts me somewhere around 45 to 50 miles in the week.
Yeah, that's really good. What will you recommend somebody new to when they're first starting? You recommend them to hit miles or time?
I I I have been running primarily by time since
Mm,
college. Like my college coach had us run by time, uh, which I think is a great way. Um, but for newer runners, I think starting slow and again trying to be consistent. So pick something that's reasonable. However many days you can run. Is it 2 days a week? Is it 5 days a week? But target that. Be very intentional about it and build slowly, right? And I mean over a period of months or even years before you take off. Before you go from like zero to a marathon essentially. Um, but just getting in that habit that where you're whatever days um, work for your personal schedule, just being consistent and committed to doing that and slowly building over time that volume. And then I think the other part, right, when you start, um, I wouldn't worry too much about doing workouts. It's more just getting that time on legs. So just building to where you can run 10 minutes and then 20 minutes and then 30 minutes at a time or more.
yeah, I feel that when people start running, they want to do everything, but they don't achieve anything. Like like when I started running, I wanted to do everything. I wanted to do speed workouts. I wanted to do long runs. I wanted to do everything. But at the same time, I was getting burnout and I wasn't really doing
Mhm.
anything. So that's what I
Yeah.
ask you. What do you recommend? Because I know some people, like me, we don't really know and we just do whatever we think
Uh,
is good.
yeah, the, I guess maybe one of the harder things with running is it takes an incredible amount of patience. Um,
Yes.
that you and I learned this early on from my dad, like when I was young and in high school, and it was like setting goals that I was wanted to accomplish. Not even that year, like I'm a sophomore in high school and setting a goal that I want to be, uh, I want to achieve this by the time I'm a senior in high school. So it's like putting in work over a period of years, and I think that's um, both beautiful about running, but it's also pretty hard because you're getting at it's hard. A lot of other things you just want to get to that destination as quickly as possible, and running's one of those things that you'll be rewarded if you kind of take your time and and you're deliberate, but you do it. You do it. You can you can improve your times quite a bit. Even without doing any bit of speed work by just running more, right?
Yeah. Um, I wanted to ask you, how do you balance? Because I know you said you're a family guy, you're a businessman, you run, you're a lawyer. How do you manage your time to do everything? I'm still
No,
struggling with like myself at the moment, like like working my job, regular job, then coming home, spend time with my family, and then going running. I still struggle a little bit.
yeah. So my wife and son are incredibly supportive of my running, um, but my running improved beginning in probably 2019, but really during the pandemic in 2020 when life kind of slowed, like a lot of things came to a halt. So I didn't have to travel as much for work. I wasn't going to the office. We were all working from home. And it allowed me just to kind of take control of my schedule and prioritize my running. And so before all that was happening, I would stay up late working, and then it would be hard to get up early in the morning to run. And sometimes I would skip my runs, and that just leads to the whole inconsistency thing where you become
Yes.
kind of irregular. So one of the most important things I did was just like, hey, I feel great when I run. It's like, it's really important for my physical health, for my mental health, all the deep thinking that I do, getting like unplugged from the computer. Right when you're when you're working and you're getting all these emails at all times of the day, and you feel like you need to respond, you have to do this, that. It's like running, you get away from it. So it just at some point around 2019 and 2020, I just decided, hey, this is something I really enjoy doing, and I want to really get back into it. So I want to make sure that, and for me, running in the morning's the easiest. So it's like I just, um, I work with my family, but this is my time. It's early in the morning, and I'm just going to get that running, and that's really helped. Um, I just found if I didn't run early in the morning, that a lot of times I just wouldn't run it off. I tried to push it off towards the end of the day. You just get busier and busier, and then
Yes.
uh, your family obligations come in.
Mhm.
Taking my son to what he's doing, spending time with them. Um, so that was probably the biggest thing is just prioritizing it and saying this is something that I have to do in this day. And that's what I guess I said for new runners, like choose something reasonable. Uh, however many days you can devote to it, but make sure on those days that you get it done, that it's one of those things that's just a must and not a I would like to do it.
Yeah. And one thing that you said for me is the same thing. When I'm running, I kind of disconnect from everything else, so I'm just running. That's
That's right.
why I think I love so much running because I get away from everything.
Yes,
So
and I found that yes, you're spending time away, but I feel like I soon found that I was a better, like I was a better lawyer. um, I was a better colleague. I was a better father, hopefully husband, because it was time, that time that I just spent out there unplugged, thinking deeply, decompressing, um, getting unstressed, whatever it was that yes, it took time, but that time paid dividends in other, in other ways.
yeah, like me, I don't really listen to music while running, and
Hmm.
while running, I kind of get all my ideas.
That's right.
So yeah, it's not just running because I'm disconnecting from everything, but at the same time, I get some new ideas, and I get like this podcast. I was while I was running, I was like, maybe I should do a podcast and share local runners like their stories.
That's
So
right.
I think
RunWise was very similar. I mean, and to this day, a lot of the things that I think of and try and improve, or it's very much, it's a startup company, so I don't have the answers right now, but a lot of that comes to me on runs. So I, sometimes come home and have to like jot things down on a piece of paper.
yes, yes. Make sure you write it down because now you're gonna forget in an hour. It's
That's
very
right.
very important to write it down. Now that we talk about that, can you share us what keeps you motivates you, like what motivates you to keep running? Because sometimes I feel that I wanna throw the towel.
Yeah, I, you know, I've gotten to the point where it's just something I need to do, like breathing and eating. It's, again, it's the way it's self-care. I think first and foremost. So it makes me feel good physically and mentally. So I feel off if I don't do it. And the motivation is I'm 46 now, so I'm getting older, and I look, I just want to be um, healthy when I'm, if I'm fortunate enough to live into my 70s and 80s or even 90s. And I know that all the things that I do now will help me with that. So it's, that's a big motivator for me, is just to stay as fit as I can. I think it also, Chase, it makes me feel younger, um, to
Man,
push myself as hard as I can.
you look younger, just like Paul. I never thought you were gonna be. You said 46, right?
46.
46. Yeah, you look younger. So I'll continue running so I can look young too.
But those are, those are the big, the big things. But I think it's the physical and mental health benefits of running that get me, that get me out the door. If I don't, at this point, I feel
Mhm.
off.
No, I agree. When I don't run, I feel guilty.
Mhm.
Man, I should be running.
That's right.
But yeah, do you have any major goal in the running, like running majors? Have you run a major before, or are you still in that process?
I have. So I've run. I've done 7 marathons. The only major I've done is Boston. I've done Boston
Nice.
twice. I did it in 2002 and 2023. Um, so I goal wise, I would like to continue running marathons. I still enjoy them. I think when I finish them, I often think this is the last time I want to do that. But then shortly after that, I want to try again. I would love to run New York, and
Mm,
Chicago. I do prefer smaller marathons.
okay.
Just the travel and the crowds is hard, but they're also special. Boston, when I ran it when I was 22, the first time I did it, and I didn't appreciate. Um, I just thought it was something I could do anytime I wanted. And then I didn't come back for 21 years. Um,
Wow.
so when I ran it again, it's just, it's got a long history. It's just amazing running through all the towns as you come into Boston, and there's just no feeling like it. I would, again, so I'd love to do New York as well, um, and keep doing them. I'm thinking more and more about ultra marathoning as I
Mm.
get older. I've read a lot, listened to a lot of people on podcasts. As you sort of slow down as you get older, it's a way that you can continue to challenge yourself, and so that's been appealing to me more and more. I don't have any plans, but I wouldn't be surprised that at some point if I give those a shot.
Yeah, I think anybody can run a marathon, but if you're competing, like you wanna hit a time, I think not everybody can do it. Like
Uh,
if you wanna go slow, yeah, you can run 20 marathons
yeah,
in a year. But
absolutely.
when you're targeting a certain time, that's when things get a little bit tough.
No, I've heard others say that too when people ask about running a marathon, like what does it take? And it's like, well, if you just want to go do it, you can go you can go do
Yeah,
it.
you can do it without training.
That's right. You could decide that you want to do one next week, and you'd probably be able to get from the start line to the finish line. You would do a lot of walking. It would take
Yeah,
7 or 8 hours, but you get there.
yeah, but if you're targeting a certain time at the end, if you accomplish it, it feels so good.
It
Uh,
does.
I I only done one, and I was targeting 3:30, and I ended up with 3:36. So I got cramps at the end,
Uh,
so I couldn't hit the target. But it felt so good that I was like really close.
yes. No, I mean that's impressive. You know, that to you were very close. I mean, it's got to be within like the margin of error on
Yeah,
6 minutes on 3.5 hours. But yes, and you learn something every time. The last four that I've done, um, I haven't come away like happy with them. I mean, happy like they were great and I finished and all that. But I've come away like, oh, I think I could have done better. And they're hard because you put so much time and effort into it. And unlike a 5K or a 10K, you can't just do another one next week or 2 weeks from now. It's like, you know, you might I do about one a year, but maybe you could do two or three. I know some people do more than that, but you really a lot of things have to go right on
yes,
that day. The weather, how you feel, your shoes. There's all this your mind. There's a
yeah. A
lot
friend of
to
friend of
get up.
mine was asking me if like the elite, like he was saying, like why don't they finish up at the same time? They're like really. I was like, there's a lot of little details, like missing your water station, missing your hydration,
Hmm.
having a bad day before the race. I mean, there's a little details that can go wrong and cost you your
Right.
race.
That's right. Yeah, actually, a good friend of mine who just did a marathon in December, and he had a episode like where uh, he left in his hotel room. He had his bag that he picked up at the expo, and the cleaning crew came through the room and thought it was garbage,
Oh no,
and took the bag with the race number. And so he came back to the room at some point, and he started looking around. And he was
it
like,
was gone.
but then that you can imagine the stress that creates.
Oh yeah, definitely that'll affect him.
He ended up finding it, but uh, but it stressed him out, right?
Yeah,
And
just little details.
yeah, and it's a long, the marathon day is a long day. You usually don't sleep very well. It's 3 or 4 hours long, and
Mm,
the weather's got to be right, and you've got to feel good. So
yeah, a lot of things have to go right so you can
mhm,
feel good at the start line.
that's right.
Yeah. Uh, do you have any? I know you do. Can you share like your long-term goal with RunWise?
Yes. So the the long term goal is to really get it out there. It's to I think to I think there are two scenarios. One, we would build up enough of a user base to get interest from like a larger company. It's a machine learning problem, so the more data, the better. So, obvious targets would be like Strava or Garmin, or Training Peaks, one of these that are custodians of lots of running data. The second scenario would be that we can build, just build it out enough that we're successful enough to hire, computer programmers and data scientists and just keep it going. So it's to have some bit of success. I would like to keep doing it. It's just me right now. So
Mm.
in the short term, especially this year, it's to make to get the revenue going enough to it's a bootstrapped company, so we're doing it with our own resources, and um, so short term is to get it enough revenue to keep doing it long enough to make it a success. But the real goal is to help, um, is to solve my own problem. And like I said, I want to run into old age, and I don't want to get injured
Get
if
injured,
I
yeah.
don't have to. And like I was saying, as you age, and if you get knocked out with an injury, it's much harder to come back when you lose all that fitness. And um, if as you talk to people that are older, like all this, the crowd around them, their peers, it kind of thins out over time. And so I would like to make a contribution in that way to other runners, to keep people as healthy as they can be, so they can keep achieving their goals, stay healthy, run for the long term.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think with the right marketing, we have Jacksonville. There's a huge running community. I think you should be able to get it out there. I think just a matter of time. You'll eventually spread out. I
Yes,
really think it will.
Jackson. I mean, it's been great. I think, I'm not quite sure if I wasn't in a place like Jacksonville that I would have ever thought, like, hey, would be, I don't want to say it's a good idea, but a viable idea. um, if I lived in a place where I was by myself running, maybe, but I see how important running is to literally hundreds or thousands of people. And so I know there's an audience there, a market. The hardest thing I've found, um, doing this, and I worked when I was working in patent law. I worked with a lot of startup companies, so I wasn't naive about how hard it is, or like the risks involved, and kind of putting yourself on the line, and leaving essentially like an established or secure field for one that's very uncertain. Um, but it's challenging to sell, things to like essentially consumers and other runners, right? I mean, probably know from your own, like, just because we all buy running shoes and pay for marathons doesn't mean that when I try to sell RunWise to people, that they like immediately be like, oh, well, that's not, it's not very expensive. um, it's hard. It's hard. It's
Yeah.
harder than I thought it'd be.
Yeah, it takes time, but I think you'll succeed. I mean, like I said, I've seen it before. I never really inquire, but I can see where a lot of runners in Jacksonville are using it.
Yeah, so that's my biggest challenge now, is trying to kind of explain or translate what we're doing, so that people understand and maybe give it a shot, to see if it'll work for them. It's what I've been, uh, trying to explain it recently, right? It's kind of like a weather forecast for runners. So um, the risk score it's essentially like a probability, not a promise that you're not going to be injured, but it's similar to saying, hey, there's a 70% chance of rain today. Um, and we all use that information, right? We decide
Yes.
whether we're going to take an umbrella or bring a raincoat or be prepared that some outdoor event that we're going to attend might be canceled. So this RunWise risk score is very similar in that way. Is it's based on your real training data, it's giving you some probability of injury based on the data that it's trained on, and then the runner can use that the same way they would use a weather forecast. So you might decide with the context of your training and your experience, or if you're working with a coach, their help, you can kind of decide, hey, maybe I need another day off, or maybe I need to run a little bit less, or maybe skip this workout, or you're just going to push through, right? Like you feel good, you're training for something important, you've been here before, you don't have any soreness or pain points, and you just go forward, like without your without your umbrella and your spirit. You're like, I don't think I think I'm going to make it today. Without without doing it. So that's essentially what we're trying to do, is just give the runner that additional bit of information. We're not trying to provide a coaching plan or tell them what they need to do. Just some information to help them understand what their risk might be.
Thanks for sharing that, and I wish you the best with that. I think you will eventually will succeed. It's just a matter of time because, like I said, I've seen it before, and if I've seen it before, there's a lot of people that also have seen it out there, somewhere out there before.
Yes, so we're going to get the word out phase. I'm actually doing my first at the Donna Marathon. We've got a table at a booth, so that'll be the first time we're out there at a race.
That'll be awesome, and
so we'll see.
I'll do my best to spread out the word so that way you can succeed. I got a segment where I have some rapid questions.
Okay.
So we're gonna go for that. What's your favorite distance?
The half marathon.
Half marathon.
So I'm a distance runner, right? I'm a distance runner. So so the longer the better. But once you start going up towards that marathon or maybe that ultra, I feel like it's harder to recover. So the half marathon to me is just like perfect.
Nice. Do you prefer road or trail?
Roads predominantly. I do love trails. It's just easier to run on the roads.
Okay. Do you prefer mornings or evenings?
Mornings.
Mornings. All right. Music or silence when you're running?
Silence.
One race I will never forget.
That's a tough one. So I really fell in love doing cross country. So they're probably one of the best races I had was a cross country race in college. It would be in 2000, the fall of 2000, and it was a small. It wasn't a dual meet, but there were several teams there at the Naval Academy. So on our home course, and it was the fastest I ran, and it just everything came together that day. I felt good. I was able to keep the pace up and finished well, and I'll probably never forget that race.
What was your time on that race?
25:51 for 5 miles on grass.
5 miles.
Grass and dirt and
that's fast.
Yeah, it was.
What's your I don't think I asked you, what's your personal best like on every category, like on 5K, 10K?
So I'd have to look. So I think I've run 15:51 on a 5K on the road. I have run
That's fast.
in workouts on the track, unofficially. 10K 32:40 something. I would have to look again.
That's fast.
And and then half marathon. So then as I go, so 15K at the gate, I've done 57. I just looked at it the other day, 57:40 something. ish, I think. Uh, Half marathons 121,
Okay,
marathon 7,
man,
and that was
you have some fast times on all of those. I think I need
long.
some more years before I can catch up.
And those especially on the shorter distance ones, those were all in my early 20s, and um, so my times are not anywhere near that when I came back in my 30s and 40s.
Oh man, are you training for any upcoming race right now?
Yes, I am training for gait right now.
Nice, me too. What's your goal on that one
I would
this year?
gonna be ambitious, but like I said, I'm 46, so I feel like my years of running faster and faster are getting fewer and fewer. So I would love to run in the 55 range.
Okay,
That's ambitious, but I'm going to give it a shot.
yeah, give it a try. Nothing to lose.
No, no,
Yeah, I'm trying to go sub an hour for this year. Last year I
great.
was so close. I was an hour and 7 seconds. So
That agony. You'll get it. You'll get
hopefully,
it here.
hopefully this year. But like we
You'll
were talking, everything has to line up perfectly.
We need, well, yes, same thing, right? We need it to be. Um, Last year's weather was pretty decent. We need another decent morning, like in the
Yes,
50s or 60s at the highest,
that'll
and
be
low.
that'll be awesome.
But if we have a hot day or a windy day, we're in trouble.
Oh yeah. Um, we're almost at the closing. What advice will you give someone just starting, like a new runner?
um, don't give up,
Give
right?
up.
Like give it a shot. Keep going. Um, it's one of the most rewarding sports. I can't think of anything else. Like if you just put time and effort into it, you will see improvement. And there's on the sporting side, and it's only you, right? It's just you will get back more than you put into it. So keep at it.
Yes. Yeah, it feels so good when you hit your target on
Mhm.
for any race. It feels so
That's
good.
right.
I don't know what it is, but it feels good.
Yes, and you just say you have to get past that beginning part where, especially if you're brand new to it, and and you just go out there a few times and you're like, this is pretty awful to be to be running. It's hot, and there's traffic or whatever. But if you stick with it for long enough that you can run a mile or run a 5K and time it and then do it again a few months later, it's so rewarding to improve.
All right. This might be a tough one. What advice will you give your younger self?
Oh.
Yeah, I don't even know what I will say to my younger self. It's a
Yeah,
tough one.
I would probably have. So one thing I feel like, so I wanted to be like a really good runner, so I really pushed myself, and I feel like I went as far as I could with the talent that I had. Like I worked really hard, and I got to the college level, and there were just people better than me, but I worked as hard as I could. So I'll always be proud of that. But if I was to go back, I would probably tell myself to not be so hard on myself, and to just maybe be a little bit um, just nicer to myself mentally when I had a rough workout or a rough race, to just let it go
Yeah.
and move on. Um, and that would probably be the thing I would do. Just have that perspective, um, that this is it's a long, right? Like you could be doing this for 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 more years if you're lucky. And I almost, fortunately I came back, but it in some other iterations of it, maybe I would have, like some of my teammates that I ran with in college, like some people don't run anymore, and I could have easily been, been one of them. And that some of that might just be that sort of mental toll that it takes.
Yes. Bjorn, where can people follow you?
So I runwiseai.com if they're curious about looking up the RunWise injury prediction tool. We are also on Instagram at runwise_AI and TikTok as well, and YouTube at RunWise AI.
Awesome. I'm gonna start following RunWise too.
Yeah, no,
So,
thank you. This has been great. I really appreciate the opportunity to to talk and not just see your Strava posts and see you occasionally race.
no, I appreciate you taking your time off, and because I know everybody's busy. We have, life. We're parents. We're, everything else. So I appreciate your time. I know it means a lot to me when people take their time off and spend it with me. So
Oh no,
I
this is great.
really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'll also I now follow along on your YouTube, and I wish you the best. I hope you reach you reach many more people, because it's something, the more people we can bring into the sport, the better. And I think you're going after the right, the
Yes.
right crowd.
Yeah, no, and hopefully, maybe next time we can do one podcast just about RunWise, so you can share a little bit more in depth of what you have to offer.
Yeah, anytime.
All right, man. I really, really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Johnny.
All right, man.
Bye.